What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't posted in quite a long time, but I do have some couple builds that I need to work on, and I was trying different videos format. I was trying to do that like ASMR, but it didn't work out. I need more practice on that. But anyways, today's gonna be pretty much straightforward and simple. I did this build before with the green palm dial. This is gonna be a gold this time. So basically, it's gonna be a two-tone that dial, your standard NH35 movement. And one thing I do want to mention, when you get these links and you want to inspect them and make sure that they're all working properly, make sure they don't rub, because I had an instance where part of this link, I'll show its bottom, not on this one but on another watch I was doing, it was actually bent and it was rubbing. So make sure you inspect it, inside the clasp too. That way you can get your money back or just exchange for a new one or whatever. Yeah, and then this one I also went with your standard silver hands, nothing too special. But yeah, let's get started. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that the dial, or not, I'm sorry, not the dial, but the movement is working. This one works just fine, as you can clearly see, it's ticking. And I don't know if I explained this to you guys before. I think I have, but you want to make sure that you line up the stems from the dial to these holes right here. This is a hole, and this is a hole right here. And also make sure you get the right one in terms of like the stem, because sometimes they come in 3 o'clock and sometimes they come in 3.8. And of course, the dial, you want to make sure you double check your stems, which I'm going to do that next. But I do want to mention that I got new tongues, or not tongues, Jesus Christ, tweezers. I got new tweezers, $9 on Amazon. These are super fine and they're steel, so I have to be careful how I handle the stuff, because I can really scratch pretty much anything I handle. It's super easy to scratch them. That's why I prefer the plastic ones, because they don't scratch stuff. But these are, they're not that great, honestly. They're really not. So got new ones, super excited to use those. So let's get started. Now, of course, after you cut the stems, you want to grind these down a little bit. They are sticking up a little bit, especially that one. So I'd have to grind this down a little bit. So I'm gonna do that next. Okay, so now that they're all nice and flat, you want to line up the stems with the holes and put the dial right on top of the movement. Just want to push it in and trying to have any gaps in there. But yeah, that looks pretty good, nice and decent. I love the color gold, by the way. It's one of my favorite colors in the watches. And next step is going to be basically line up the hours, or the date with the hours, and to midnight, and then put the hour hands on. Okay, then now that's all set, I'm going to get my hands, which are right here, and I'm going to do the hour hand first. All right, the hour hands is on. I'm just going to rotate it to midnight again, make sure it's working properly. All right, about a few seconds past midnight, but that's okay. Should be fine. All right, next up is the minute hand. Okay, the minute hand was pretty simple as well. Again, I'm just going to double check, make sure it doesn't rub, grind, or anything like that. And again, same process. You want to go to midnight again. And then for the second hand, doesn't really matter if it's midnight or not, but I like to do it at midnight. About a minute past midnight, maybe half a minute. But that's okay. That's how they are. That's fine. Okay, next up is the second hand, and that's going to take me the most. But yeah, let's get to it. And here we go. So that was pretty easy. I'm gonna double check, make sure everything is not rubbing. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty straightforward. I mean, I've done these many times. So, you know, here's what it is. But yeah, I'm gonna monitor, see how it works, and then if I need to, I make some adjustments. But so far so good. Next up is the crown stem. One thing I do want to mention here, when you handle Rodico, which is this stuff right here, I always change the gloves because it leaves this funky residue on top of your gloves, and then like every time I touch a dial or whatever, I leave prints. So just a little quick tip: change your glove or change your finger, whatever gloves or cottons, whatever you want to call them, finger cots. Yeah, moving on. Okay, so as you can clearly see, the crown is too big for the case, obviously. So I take my measuring tool and I just measure distance between the case and the actual crown. And usually it's about 8 millimeters, but we'll see how this one is. It's kind of hard for me to do off camera. Or on camera, I should say. Okay, so it looks like the distance is going to be 7.7. Which is weird, because it's usually 8. So once I cut this, I have to file down the edge of it because it's not straight. You want to have a straight edge. I usually use a filer or sandpaper, so either or. So as you can see, the stem is still too big, and you want to close that gap as much as you can without going too much in it. Otherwise, the date and time function won't work properly. But in the sense that you can't really set, it'll be just fine. You can't really. It'd be hard for you to get that position right. But I'm gonna file this more down a little bit more and then go from there. Okay, so after some time of sanding it down, I got it to where I want it to be. So you want to have some play in the crown, and then once you tighten it down, right, you want it to have pretty much no space, and that's pretty good in my opinion. That should be good to go. So as always, don't forget to put some Loctite on it, some blue Loctite, and then we'll move on to the cleaning up the case, put on the links, and the big reveal. So as that's drying, I'm gonna move on to clean up the case. Again, I always use the rubbing alcohol with a Q-tip just to clean up the area, and then wipe down with a microfiber cloth. And I do both sides, and of course clean up the dial if it needs to be cleaned up. So far it's looking pretty good, yeah, I'm gonna move on to do that. Oh, and I also use the lens pen. Super cool product, tool I should say, not product, but definitely get you one of these. It's really handy. Okay, so everything's looked pretty good, nice and clean. Final step is to put the case on top of the movement and call it a day. So moving on to the back case, I like to clean the back case as well. There's a gasket in there too, don't forget that. But yeah, I like to clean it again just to make it nice and clean and have a good presentation, even though nobody's gonna see the back of the case anyways, but I like to clean it regardless. Okay, that looks pretty clean. And you do want to lubricate your gasket with silicone. Do one of these things, rubber back and forth, and should be good to go. Seal up the case. I like to do by hand and first, and then get a rubber ball and just do one of these. And then finally, I do have a case back tool that I use. And all right, that should be good to go. All right, that looks pretty good so far. I do love the two-tone. One of my favorite combinations. I think my all-time favorite combination is the black and gold. That's definitely one of my favorites. But this one's probably second favorite. Anyways, moving on to the links. I'm gonna adjust it to my wrist size, and then we'll do a little final reveal. And there you have it, guys. A nice two-tone timepiece with a gold leaf palm, I guess you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Again, came out really nice. The only kind of like criticism on this dial, I wish the indices had extra detail around them, like the little notches, kind of like what the actual Rolex does. But overall, it came out really nicely. However, I do want to say I came across a problem with one of the links, more particularly the screw. I'll show you how it looks like right now. It looks like this. Obviously, it's bent. So when I was trying to take out the screw and size up my wrist, I stripped the top of it, and I could not get it out. And unfortunately, I had to drill out the actual screw, and I did ruin the link, which is going to be extra anyways. I still have these right here, which are fine, and as well as this one. This one's totally fine as well. So unfortunately, these things does happen from time to time. I don't know how this one got so bent so badly. I had no clue. I don't even know how they put it in like that. That's crazy. But that did happen, and I had to actually use a hand drill that I had. I'll show you right here in a minute. Basically, it looks something like this. The little drill bits go at the end, and you just screw it. And yeah, I'll try to drill it out, I should say. Yeah, it took me about an hour to do it because I don't have obviously the power. If you're gonna get these, get the power one. Honestly, just so much better. It gets just your time is cut in half, one and a half. But yeah, anyways, overall, I'm really happy how this turned out, and I'm gonna show some pictures of me drilling out the screw. But yeah, that's it. That's it for this build. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I am at 300 subscribers, which is really, really awesome. I do want to thank you all for subscribing to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. And as you know, I'm trying to get to 1,000. So if you could do me a favor, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Honestly, it would really help me out and like the video and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's it for this build. I do have a custom build coming up next week, or this week, I should say. So that will be coming up next. That's actually going to be for a customer, which I'm super excited. He actually went with a two-tone with a leather strap. So again, look out for that. But anyways, I just want to thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.